Tell me about the person you're playing.
Well, at first, I'm closed up like a flower.
Mm-hmm.
Bud.
Yeah?
And then gradually, the petals start to open. And then I finally learn about myself, and I learn how to enjoy sex.
Beautiful.
And I feel free.
Don't worry, they're just Polaroid shots.
No, I know, it's not that. It's just... You made me beautiful.
That was a clip from Lovelace, and I'm delighted to be joined now by its star, Amanda Seyfried. The film is wonderful. It effectively, if you can just tell us a little bit about the film from the beginning.
Well, this film is based on a true story. Linda Lovelace was a very famous adult film star from the 70s, and she had an entirely different story from what we as a society know about her. She was defined as one thing. She basically was coerced into this business, trying to escape her family life. She kind of ran into the arms of another man who's basically a monster named Chuck Trainer, and this movie focuses on their relationship and her entrance into the adult film industry. And it basically ruined her life. She never really caught a break, and she was domestically abused throughout her marriage, and she was basically shunned by the public, and she couldn't get a job. She was on welfare most of her life. But yet she still had the strength to speak out against domestic violence and abuse in porn. And it's kind of a survival story in a way.
The film is very interesting. The power of the film is the way that it tells making Deep Throat, which is the movie that she was in. And it does it from two different perspectives. So you follow the story on one level, and then it goes back again.
Yeah, what we all think and what's actually happening. It's pretty clever the way it kind of just reverses everything, and then you see that she's actually being abused, and her life is just nothing glamorous. I mean, she certainly, I think, had moments when she was getting some positive attention when the movie came out, but
which she enjoyed.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
was a tiny percentage of what she also had to go through.
I mean, the sad thing is, the lights and the glamour and the fame that can all be fun for a second, but it was even more so for her because every time she was in the limelight, she was away from her husband. Every time she was with a group of people, that was time away from the abuse that she would receive when it was just her and Chuck. And Chuck wouldn't even let her use the bathroom alone, so it was tough. She had a tough go. It
doesn't shy away from depicting the psychological and also the physical abuse which she claimed went on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
How, as an actress, was that to do?
I felt so safe with Peter Sarsgaard, who plays Chuck, and the directors. They created such a good atmosphere on set. I didn't feel... it is weird to be manhandled in any capacity, but it was choreographed. It was done in such a way that it didn't. The hardest part is the emotional weight of that. The fact that it was actually happening to somebody, and it is happening to people everywhere, and it's just really depressing.
You've said one of the reasons you wanted to do the film was to give a voice to Linda Lovelace, just to let people see what was really going on. And what else attracts you to the film?
Playing a real person is, the responsibility of that is great. And I was just looking for a real challenge. And biopics are just perfect for actors, I think, when they want to really step in the shoes of somebody else. And I got to. And it's an incredible era that I never got to experience.
How do you get to know Linda as a person? How do you get close to that? I think her children were helpful, were they?
Her children are amazing. They're so supportive. But it was just her books. She wrote 2 books, Out of Bondage and Ordeal. They sold a lot, actually. And she definitely did. She did a press tour. I was actually speaking to somebody yesterday on the radio. He had met her in the late 70s, early 80s. And he was really empathetic towards her and her story because he had met her. there's a lot of footage online. I mean, the internet is a great source of...
It's all changed, hasn't it, now?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I know so much about somebody that I just wouldn't have... I mean, her books were really, really educational, but to see her in action for somebody that's going to be imitating her is really, really helpful.
And what was her children's reaction when they watched the film?
They loved it. They said the first time they can show their spouses will understand who their mother was, because they thought that I captured her essence, which was the nicest. It's just maybe the most rewarding kind of feedback that I've ever received. And
well, it's such responsibility, isn't it?
oh gosh, it was so
because you're
intimidating.
trying to show a different side. You're trying to show something that happened to this woman, and you just want to get it right. It's incredibly important.
But at the same time, this point of view is entirely hers for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have to really question where I was coming from. I was just being her. That's it.
There's a moment in the film where she's taking a polygraph test. It's right at the beginning, I think. It's at the request of her publishers. And she's asked whether her name is Linda Lovelace. And she asks them to start with an easier question, which says a lot, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not just that her name was never Linda Lovelace. I mean, Linda Lovelace was that. She actually did say this on Phil Donahue. Linda Lovelace was a fictitious character. It was the character in Deep Throat. It was the character in some of the other in some of the other films, and it was just a name. It doesn't represent who she is as a human being in any way, shape, or form. She just wasn't. She wasn't that person.
When you were acting out the scenes with Peter Sarsgaard and Chuck Schreiner, who, you know, a vile character, really vile character, it must have been very dark and very difficult to leave behind when you leave the set and you go home for the night. I can't imagine what it's like when you're trying to go to sleep at night and you've been through some of the really intense scenes, the violent scenes.
I think I got to a point where I kind of lost myself a little bit, which at the end of the day is probably best for her, for Linda. But yeah, I had a hard time. It was mostly when I left the set entirely.
When the film finished?
Yes.
What happened?
I don't know. I was in a funk. I had known so much about this woman. I'd grown to love this woman, because you have to, really, to do it justice, the performance and the portrayal. I couldn't shake it, and I think this is probably what a lot of people go through when they're really deeply embedded in someone else's mind. And I'd never met her, and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to release all that, because I was so in it when I was in it. And then luckily, 3 weeks after we wrapped, I came to London to start rehearsing for Les Mis and playing an 18-year-old virgin.
Wow!
Playing a virgin was so wonderful. She's so innocent and clean and
a real cleansing process.
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know what I would have done had I not gone straight into that. It would have been really
maybe stayed in
hard
that dark
for me.
funk.
Yeah. That's not nice.
It's not nice at all. You talked about the challenging aspects of the role being one of the reasons for taking it, but you're also worried about the potential risk to your career as a young actress playing a porn star. What did you mean specifically by that?
Well, the stigma when it comes to sex in general and adult films could be quite damaging, I think, when portrayed in the wrong way. It seemed like people were passing on it, and I didn't understand why. Because it's dark. The material, the content is, I mean, it's...
Do you think it's because there's still cynicism about Linda Lovelace and about her credibility?
Well, yeah, that probably does play into it. I was on a panel the other day, and most of the people were like, whatever, really?
How
so
annoying. She's
saying that this happened, but I mean, when you look back and see the footage of her, I can't be that person. I was cynical at one point before I sat down and read her books, but I can't be. I just don't understand anymore. I know so much about this woman, and I've seen her speak about her stories so much, and I've gotten to know her kids pretty well, and I don't know how to. I'm not going to try to talk someone into believing what I believe, but
That would just make you angry.
Yeah.
Because there will be people going to this film thinking, oh, it's about Deep Throat, it's about porn. And because I got home, my husband was like, wow, I can't wait to see this film. I should have come with you. And I was really angry and really upset. And I was like, no, it's about domestic abuse. You have no idea what this story is really about.
Yeah.
And there will be people who are quite surprised.
I mean, she made some bad decisions. I'm not going to say she didn't. But she really tried to come full circle as a human being, and she realized, what she had done and how she could have maybe handled things differently. And that's all you needed.
It's all you can do.
It's all you can do. You're right.
Okay, and the thing that you're doing at the moment, it's the Seth MacFarlane direct.
Yeah, I just finished.
You finished it, okay. It's called A Million Ways to Die in the West. Just tell us a little bit about it.
It's the funniest thing you'll ever see.
I would expect that.
This guy is really clever. What's going to surprise you, I think, is that he's a movie star. He's just as charming as a director as he is an actor, and he's so funny. It's so there's nothing like it. I mean, maybe Blazing Saddles comes close, but a Western, we never stopped laughing. I do something in this movie that I've never seen done in any movie ever.
What's that?
With Neil Patrick Harris. I'm not going to say.
Oh.
But it's it's pretty gross, and it was difficult. But
oh, hang on, what does it involve? You've got to give me some pointer, some kind of a clue. What else? How many other people involved? Are there any objects
involves
or animals?
human hair.
Human hair.
Yeah, but it's really fun. I mean, Neil Patrick Harris and I are a couple in this movie, and it's just so funny. But it's Charlize and Seth, Charlize Theron and Seth, who are the leads, and then we've got Sarah Silverman and Giovanni Ribisi, and then crazy cameos, just because everybody respects him and wants to work with him, and he is. I honestly can't say enough about the film, and just the whole experience in general was really, really great.